Just looking at a regular laptop here, just a regular old laptop, nothing. Oh, what's this? There's another screen hiding back there. This is a dual screen laptop, and I don't think anybody knows how much we all need this. I don't know why this has not been like a thing for a long time, because it's going to be very difficult for me to go back to a regular laptop after messing around with the dual screen laptop. This is the ACEMAGIC X1 360 horizontal dual screen laptop. I think I've seen a vertical dual screen laptop, but I think this is more practical. Like far more practical. So let's go through it and talk about, all the specs, and then I'm going to talk about what we can do with it, and then I'll test the hell out of this thing. Thanks to Whokeys for sponsoring this video. Now these are OEM Windows keys. That means that you do your own tech support. You're not going to be relying on Microsoft, and they're generally locked to the hardware. We got a coupon code. Click on buy now. Put in coupon code TS25. Hit apply, and that price comes down. Now when you compare that to the outrageous prices from Microsoft, you'd have to buy this many times to equal the price of one regular key from Microsoft. As of right now, this Windows 10 Pro key will unlock Windows 11. We also have Windows 10 Home. Windows 11, you can buy it directly, Windows 11 Home, and we have 2 flavors of Office. Once you're finished, all you have to do is click on your user account up here, go to your user center, click on My Purchase Orders, just View Keys and Codes, and you can just copy and paste your key, hit Start, type Activate, click on Activation Settings, paste it in there, click on Next, and you will be activated. So head on over to Whokeys.com to get yourself an OEM Windows key at a price that makes sense. The first thing I want to say is a bit of a thank you to ACEMAGIC. I feel like they've taken a step in the right direction. A lot of their products in the past have tried to bypass the initial Windows setup so that you don't have to use an online Microsoft account. And while I think that is a noble thing to do and a good thing to do, they've done it by changing some things and adding some files, some suspicious files, into Windows directories. Those files, a lot of them got flagged as viruses. I ran tests. Some of them came up in the tests, but I couldn't figure out what it was doing. So I never, figured one way or another if it was doing keylogging or anything weird like that. We don't have it here. It's clean. It came back clean. Now, what's interesting is they've put a sticker on here, and the sticker says like, hey, don't connect to the internet. ACEMAGIC, just keep doing this. Just keep doing it this way. Tell people to don't plug up the internet, don't connect your Wi-Fi, and then you can sign in with an offline account easily. But this is a much better approach than messing around with Windows and getting stuff that shows up as malware pre-installed on a machine, because that makes people freak out. So cheers to doing that. All right, now let's take a look at this. We have 2 1080p horizontal screens here and a giant hinge in the middle, and there are so many options. You know what? I kind of want to talk about that before I even get into the specs. It folds all the way around 360, meaning you can close it in the front or you can flip it all the way around to the back. Now, once you have, the screen positioned, you get to pick how your screens display, and we have a bunch of different options here. So you can choose to have monitor A on, monitor B on, you can pick one or the other, or you can have them mirrored, or you can have them both extended, like folded out. I think most people are going to use this, as extended, so have 2 separate monitors. But one of the cool things is if you want to mirror your screen, well, you can fold it around and you'll have a screen on front and on back of the laptop, and it's mirrored. So that means if you're doing like a presentation or you're with some people and you want them to see exactly what you're seeing, or even if you're watching a movie and you want to have the movie playing on both sides so everybody sitting around can chill and watch the movie, you can do that. Also, imagine this, you're hanging out playing some games, playing some indie games, playing some ROMs or whatever with your friends, and maybe you're playing like a 4-player game or something, or even a multiplayer game, and you're sitting across from each other. You can have a screen on both sides displaying the same thing at the same time, all synced up, so you can sit around and, on all sides and play. I think that's pretty cool. Nowhere on their material does it say the size of the screen, so I pulled this out and measured it. They're 14-inch screens. You could tell by looking at them they're 14, but I wanted to make sure they weren't something weird. But yeah, they're 14-inch screens. So yeah, let's go through the specs now, and then we'll talk. This feels good. It's all metal. I expected this to be a lot clunkier than it was. Like I expected these hinges and all the stuff moving. I expected it to be a lot clunkier than it was, but it's so much easier than dealing with the clip-on screens and stuff. Those are still useful and handy, but this is just a step in a different direction. It's so much more seamless and easy to use. All right, let's go through the specs on this. We got an i7-1255U. So that's generations before all the nonsense, right? You get 10 threads, 12 cores. The base frequency is 3.5. It'll turbo up to 4.7. We also have Intel Iris on the inside, 16 gigabytes of DDR4 memory. We got a 1 terabyte M.2 under the hood. All right, we got Wi-Fi 6, Also Bluetooth 5.2. It's a laptop, so I mean, don't get your hopes up. We don't have that many ports. On one side, we just have HDMI and USB 3. It's 5 gigabits per second. The HDMI port is HDMI 2.0, 4K 60 Hz is supported. We have 2 Type-C on the other side, no USB 4 or anything like that. We've got only charging. So we really only have a couple ports plus an HDMI. Type-C, one of them is 5 gigabits per second with display output as well, and that's the first one, and the one in the back, only charging. So you really only have 3 ports. Carrying this thing around being like, hey, let's plug up some stuff. Ports. Comes with Windows 11 Home. I upgraded mine to Pro because I just can't abide Home. If I'm going to use it for more than a few minutes, I got to upgrade it. But for a lot of people, maybe Home is okay. There's a little lever on the right side to help you get your hand on there, but it pretty much takes 2 hands. It's not one of those laptops you can just grab with one hand and like lift up the screen. No. You're going to need both hands. But once you get it open, the hinges are firm. This does not wobble around or anything like that. The hinges can totally support both of the monitors. Let's take a look at the keyboard area. So right on the top there's this gold saying. It says, "Stay hungry, stay foolish." I want you to stay hungry, stay foolish. I don't know what that means, but I kind of like it. The keyboard itself is normal on the left half, and then on the right half it kind of gets a little wonky for me. The question and the whack, I guess, the backslash, is big. I would rather have that be small, and the small shift really bothers me. So that's a bit weird on the right-hand side. I looked at some of my other laptops. Most of them have a full-size shift on the right. But yeah, so that's going to take a lot of getting used to because I use that shift a lot when I'm capitalizing letters, and 1,000 times I've been typing and I would reach over and press the up button and then be like, what's wrong? Why is it not capitalizing? And oh, the shift it's over even farther than I'm used to. So that's a bit weird. If you're someone who uses the right shift all the time, this might be a thing you're like, oh, that's kind of weird. But if you use the left shift or whatever, it's not that big of a deal. But I would much rather have had a smaller question and whack symbol. I guess one of the reasons they did that was so that they could line up the arrow keys. You know, because you have to have the arrow keys all the way over. And if you were to make the shift bigger, it would bump the arrow keys over. So I'm not exactly sure what the best solution is for that. It's just, I don't know, it feels like maybe the buttons themselves, they're poppy. I don't know. It doesn't feel super premium, if that's a thing. I don't know. It feels a little bit like toy keyboard. I don't like the feel of the keys all that much. They're okay. You can almost hear when I'm typing. It feels like it's like hollow. I mean, it works. You could totally type on this. You got to understand. I use ThinkPads. So going from a ThinkPad to other things, it's going to be difficult. So the keyboard, I'm going to give it like a 6 out of 10. It's just that's the least impressive thing about this. All right, let's go through a bunch of benchmarks and just see how fast this is. Well, it's not a gaming rig. Unigine Valley, score of 14.2 FPS running at the 1080p high setting, minimum FPS 6.1, and you can see the score there is 594 if you're playing along at home. So we won't be using this for modern 3D games. Alright, let's run another Unigine benchmark. This is superposition, which also stresses the CPU doing lots of physics stuff. So I'll run that one. Alright, superposition, final result 1517 with an average of 11.35. About what was expected. Well, you know, we can't play any modern 3D games. We'll be just fine emulating and playing some older games. Wanted to see how fast the hard drive was, and it looks like we got PCI Express Gen 4 speeds somewhere in the middle there. Looks pretty good on the read. 3782, and then the max write 2613. Now I want to note I was monitoring this. So I had this up and running, and during the write test, that's when it really got the hottest. It peaked at 70, but just right now at idle, 49 degrees Celsius. Let's take a look at Cinebench. Now this is a 12th gen Intel Core i7. We got 10 cores and 12 threads, because you know we've got that mixture of the performance cores and the efficiency cores. So let's take a look at our single core score first. You can see there it's 1014. And then we'll take a look at the multi-core score. And that one, 3620. I did expect it to be slightly faster than that, but that's what I got. And I'm also running the newest drivers, just so you're aware. And I'm running it at the highest power mode. I expected it to be a little bit faster than this, but it is low power, so there's that. All right, I'm going to open up Ada64 right now, and we're going to open up hardware info. I'm going to go ahead and click on the fire icon, and then we're going to hit start and just let this stress test for about 15 minutes. I'll bring up these sensors here so we can have 2 sets of information going, and we'll just see how warm this gets and see how loud it gets. All right, it's been 19 minutes. I'm 4 minutes late. I was making a cake. I don't apologize for anything, but this is looking pretty good. We're in the 50s. I expected this to be a little bit warmer, but this is a low-powered part. It's also not that loud. Like, it's very, very nice and quiet. Thermals are looking really good on this. Let's go ahead and do a test of the audio. First off, I'll do the room tone. This room is way too loud. Just sitting at the desk, it's 45. All right, I'll put it about a foot away and we'll see how it is. All right, so yeah, looking pretty good. I didn't push the hold button, but I saw it go to 48. So 47.3, 48, but usually it's just in the high 40s. It's barely raising the volume in the room. You can hear it. It does have kind of a higher pitch sound, kind of like a plane before it's taking off. But imagine if the plane was, the size of this mouse, and that's how much sound it has. So it's pretty good. Let's go through the internal hardware specs right here with hardware info. That's how I like to do it. See, there's our processor, i7 1255U. And then you can see the breakdown right here. We have the performance cores, 2 of those. And those are hyper-threaded, so that's 4 cores. And then we have 8 of the efficiency cores. So this will be good for doing, a few major things. And then a lot of stuff in the background will be taken care of by those efficiency cores. 12 megs of L3 cache right there. And then you can see we have our 16 gigabytes of DDR4 memory. Over here we have our Intel Iris Xe graph with 128 megabytes of dedicated graphics memory. It will share some of the system memory, so some of the 16 will be shared depending on what's going on with your game. As far as the M.2, we've got a Kingston, and there's the model number you can take a look at. PCI Express Gen 4x4. There's no RJ45 port, but we do have Wi-Fi 6. It's a Realtek Wi-Fi 6 right there. And this is something I plugged into the side. Ignore this. I've got a Realtek USB thing plugged into the side so I can have my wired Ethernet. And just some information about our motherboard here. It's an Alder Lake series motherboard. So I think judging from those benchmarks, this is really it's like a business laptop, but you can really edit on this. Editing 4K video on this works amazingly well, and doing transitions and stuff. This i7 is not a slouch. So yeah, sure, go ahead, edit to your heart's content. You can do stuff like that because I was using both Windows with Adobe Premiere, the latest version. It works great. I got no complaints. So you can do a lot of cool stuff with it. When it comes to like modern gaming, well, I can play some modern indie games on medium and low settings. If it's like a super basic modern game, of course I can play that. Playing like games that require 3D acceleration, well, that's not what this is for. I think it's kind of the right move to give this an i7, but not a crazy graphics card. It keeps the price a little bit lower. I mean, you're not going to be doing crazy gaming on this, but I don't think that this is specifically for gamers. Yeah, it's cool to have like a side monitor while you're gaming so you can have your chat up, or you can have, if you're streaming or whatever, or you can just be like watching a stream while you're gaming at the same time if you're casual and just chilling. That's cool. Those are all interesting use cases for a laptop. But I think a lot of people are just going to have a gaming laptop. If they want like the full-on experience and they want like the fast, gaming, they're going to have a gaming laptop. I don't think that a lot of gamers would use a dual screen laptop, but I think a lot of people who are doing productivity stuff, office stuff, they're going to use a dual screen laptop. So I think it might be the right move to like kind of gear it for business and productivity and a little bit less toward gaming. Also, as far as like business and stuff, I do want to mention that it does support screencasting, 4K screencasting at 5 gigabits per second. I haven't tried that. I don't have anywhere to try that, but yeah, that will work. All right, it's going to take me a while to get over the coolness of this. Didn't know how much I wanted it. I know it's stupid. I want a triple screen one now with a graphics card so I can play racing games on a bus. So when I get on a bus and play a bus simulator game, I think this is really cool. So let me know what you think. I'm very curious. I did not expect this. Let's put it that way. I didn't expect this, and I'm glad I have it. So ACEMAGIC, cool. And thanks for not putting the weird software on there as well. The sticker is great. All right, let me know what you think. While you're on the internet, be sure to pick up a mouse over at epicpants.com. Right there, $19.99 for this flawless sensor. Go ahead and get it. And we got all kinds of stuff on sale. Shirts are still on sale, half price. Shirtly not. That's the coupon code. All right, head over to epicpants.com. I'll see you in the comments.